Welcome to This Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're joining us, because today we're unraveling a biological mystery that's quite literally happening inside you right this very second. So I want you to start by thinking about something we pretty much all take for granted: everyday movement. From the exact moment you get out of bed to when your head hits the pillow at night, your body is in constant motion. But how does that actually work down at the microscopic level?
Just think about your own body right now. Every single time you go for a casual walk down the street or, just pace around your living room while you're on a phone call, your muscles are firing. They're putting in the work.
And, well, if you pick up the pace and go for a run, or maybe tackle a steep flight of stairs, that physical exertion ramps up dramatically, right? You start breathing heavier, your heart pumps faster, and your muscles just demand way more output.
But hey, it's not just about intense workouts. This happens when you do something as mundane and universal as lifting your morning cup of coffee just to take a sip. Even the smallest, most automatic actions require your muscles to use energy. It's a constant, never-ending biological demand.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this seemingly simple question, it actually stumped some of the greatest minds in science for centuries. Now, historically, scientists and doctors, they always understood the basic idea that the food we eat somehow powered the human body. They knew there was a clear connection between, say, eating a hearty meal and having the stamina to do physical work, but they didn't fully grasp the actual physical process of how it all went down. Like, how exactly does a piece of toast turn into the power to lift that cup of coffee?
Section 1. The Energy Mystery, Biology's Cold Case.
Now, what's really interesting about this is that for decades, researchers were basically staring at a biological cold case, with half the puzzle pieces completely missing. They knew the body used a type of sugar called glucose as its main energy source. But it was kind of like a magic trick. They had no idea what happened to it afterward. Where did the glucose actually go? Once it was burned up, how on earth was it replaced so quickly, and how could the body just keep supplying energy continuously during a long workout? These were the glaring, unanswered questions of early human physiology.
Section 2. Meet the chorus, the scientific detectives.
Well, every great mystery needs brilliant detectives, and ours began right here with Gerty Cori. Born back in 1896 in Prague, her absolute burning love for science led her to medical school, and that's where she met her partner and future husband, Carl Ferdinand Cori. Bonding over this deep, shared passion for research, they eventually packed up and moved to the United States, and it was there that they really zeroed in on one of biology's biggest mysteries: exactly how the human body produces and stores its energy.
Section 3. The Cori Cycle Explained, the Energy Recycling Plant.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because after years of really meticulous research, the Cori monarchs finally cracked the case. They discovered this incredible, continuous recycling plant operating inside of you. So here is the exact mechanism. Step 1. When your muscles are working hard, they burn glucose for energy, which produces lactic acid. Step 2. That lactic acid then travels right through your bloodstream directly to your liver. Step 3. The liver acts like a massive recycling center, converting that lactic acid right back into fresh glucose. And finally, Step 4. That newly minted glucose is released back into the bloodstream for your muscles to use all over again. It is just a stunningly efficient loop.
So the crucial point is this: the Cori cycle is that exact, continuous recycling process we just talked about. By mapping out this entire loop, Gerty and Carl finally explained how the human body manages and sustains its energy supply during physical activity. The whole mystery of where the glucose went and how it was replaced, it was finally completely solved.
Section 4. A medical revolution changing modern medicine.
Now, discovering the Cori cycle wasn't just, neat biological trivia. It fundamentally changed our entire understanding of human metabolism and how our organs actually communicate with each other. By mapping out this energy highway, doctors were suddenly armed with the knowledge they needed to understand and treat some pretty major medical issues. We're talking everything from diabetes and blood sugar regulation all the way to complex glycogen storage disorders and muscle metabolism. This single discovery became a bedrock foundation of modern biochemistry. In fact, it's literally still taught to physiology students worldwide today.
Section 5. Making Nobel History, a Triumph of Persistence.
As you can imagine, when you fundamentally change the world's understanding of medicine by figuring out how the body processes stored glucose, also known as glycogen, the scientific community absolutely takes notice. And this led to a truly monumental year. In 1947, Gerty and Carl Cori were awarded the highest possible honor a scientist can achieve, the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine.
And this brilliantly illustrates something incredibly important about Gerty's journey specifically. On one hand, her intellectual abilities and her research output perfectly matched and, honestly, often totally exceeded those of her male peers. But on the other hand, throughout so much of her career, universities repeatedly offered her lower-paying, lesser positions simply because she was a woman. She faced immense systemic discrimination, but she absolutely refused to let it stop her research.
That unstoppable determination is exactly what led her to this incredible milestone. Gerty Cori made history by becoming the very first woman ever to receive the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. I mean, what an extraordinary, ceiling-shattering achievement. Her win sent this powerful message across the globe, proving once and for all that groundbreaking, world-changing science is definitely not bound by gender.
When we step back and look at Gerty Cori's lasting legacy, the sheer scope of her impact is honestly breathtaking. Here we are, nearly a century later, and her work is still the groundwork for vital research into human metabolism, diabetes treatment, exercise physiology, and complex genetic disorders that affect how we produce energy. But, beyond the laboratory, her persistence and deep curiosity became a beacon of inspiration for generations of women pursuing careers in science and medicine. She proved that you can absolutely overcome even the greatest societal obstacles.
So the very next time you go for a run, climb a flight of stairs, or just take a casual walk down the street to grab a coffee, I want you to remember that your body is constantly performing this incredible, invisible energy recycling process. We finally understand how it all works, and it's all thanks to Gerty Cori. But it does leave us with this final, thrilling thought. If an entire, complex recycling plant was operating secretly inside our muscles and liver for most of human history, what other incredible biological mysteries are still hiding inside you right now, just waiting to be discovered? Keep wondering, keep learning, and thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.